Hey.
Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Blind Girl Talk.
Welcome back.
This week's episode, I'm super excited, and I know Wale's definitely excited.
Definitely. Of course I am.
Because it's going to be all about her and her little Ava.
Yes. Episode 5.
Episode 5, wow.
Yeah, that's a milestone.
That is kind of a milestone. And honestly, I am terrible at keeping track of what episode we're on.
Honestly, it's a good thing that I do keep a good note of it, or else I think I would have forgotten.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
Okay, so this week we're gonna do a Q&A. I've come up with a couple questions for Wale, and we gotten a couple questions for one of our viewers. And I will throw that in there, and I'm not gonna mention their names, just to respect their privacy. But we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this.
Yes, we're gonna do it. Yes, I'm ready. I am so ready. And just as a heads up, guys, just as a little disclaimer, I'm just gonna speak upon obviously my personal experience being a blind parent. This doesn't speak for all, blind parents or blind people in general. This is just me and myself and I, and I'm not, speaking in a condescending manner or wanting to be superior to anybody. I just speak to either give advice or my experience, and hopefully that you learn from it. So woohoo, let's get this going. I'm ready.
All right, let's start from the beginning.
Let's go. Shoot.
How did Ava happen? I'm joking. You don't gotta tell us that.
Well, I mean, I'm assuming that if you're on the show, you're over 18, or if you are under 18, then we have a problem. I mean, ask your parents, how are babies made if you're under 18?
Okay.
If you're over 18, you know the usual story.
Birds in the seed, which I never know. I never got the whole.
I never got it either. I mean, honestly though, just to touch base on that, she was not planned out. Essentially, she wasn't a planned baby. She just kind of showed up.
Magic.
Boom.
Great. Boom. Ava sent from heaven.
Ava sent from heaven. Let's go, Miss Interviewer. I'm ready. Shoot your questions at me.
Okay. So, due to your rapid loss of vision, my question is, did you experience any pushbacks from families or friends when you announced that you were pregnant? Because all these misconceptions that the public has about being a blind parent and how you're gonna do this, how you're gonna do that. So did you experience any of that?
Yeah, of course I did, definitely. I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it was my mom originally first, who I got pushback from, and her immediate concern was being that you're losing more vision and you don't know if your vision will be stable. Her first concern was if I was going to pass my disease down to my growing baby. And she also was hey, what about if you lose more vision? How would you be able to do things by yourself? And I honestly had no answers to the questions either, because when I got pregnant with Ava, my vision was pretty, I wouldn't say as well as it was back in 2010. I got pregnant with her in 2017. It was kind of crappy by then. I was already using a cane. So it was crappy, but I had obviously no idea if I was going to lose more vision. So I just kind of had to be prepared for whatever was coming to me. But definitely I did experience pushback from, I have to say that I really think it was my mom who first who first showed concern and expressed concern, hey, how are you gonna do this, or what about if this happens, or blah 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 blah. But I had no answers to them. I also had my own pushback, if that makes sense, because when I found out I was pregnant with her, I was oh my God, what about if what my mom is saying is right? What about if I do lose more vision and I'm not prepared? And what about if I'm going to always have to depend on somebody, which I didn't want to have to do? But obviously I overcame that. I made myself independent. I made myself realize that it's going to be a challenge, but I'm willing to take on that challenge. As soon as I found out I was pregnant, I was probably like 6 weeks pregnant, and I decided right then and there when I took those 2 pregnancy tests, I'm going to keep this baby no matter what. Even if it turned out that like the doctors were able to show that like she was going to carry down some sort of genetic disease, I would have kept her no matter what.
Do you know if what your eye condition is genetic? Like,
so essentially when I got diagnosed, they told me it was a genetic hereditary disease.
Okay.
But being that like my diagnosis was really not like 100%, like I never went for a second opinion. I was told like 2 different diagnoses. Like I was originally told raccoon dystrophy, and then I was told Stargardt's, but neither or of those are in my family. Now if they're my ancestors, then I don't know. But what I could definitely tell you is that when I was pregnant with Ava, I definitely did do genetic testing to like reassure that there was nothing.
I thought you were gonna say you did jujitsu.
No. It did sound like I was gonna say that, right? I said I did I stuttered there. What's going on?
It was awesome.
I mean, I could have done jujitsu, but
jujitsu. Now she came and say it, right?
I could have done it, but honestly, with the way I felt with Ava, like the whole 9 months vomiting, I probably wouldn't have lasted doing anything. But definitely, so Ava, was diagnosed with nothing at all. Thankfully, up to this day, she is 100% healthy. Just the other day, she went to the doctors, and she's doing great. Everything is great with her.
That's great. So my next question is, so usually, young moms or first-time moms, there's all these anxiety that comes with it, and all these doubts, and they do a lot of research, and there's like all these resources, and they start taking classes or downloading all these books. What steps did you take to prepare yourself for motherhood, knowing that your vision was rapidly going that way?
Nothing at all.
Nothing.
No steps. Honestly, like ever since I was probably, I don't even know, but ever since I was a little girl, even when I came into the school, I don't know if you ever noticed, Angela, I was always like a magnet with children. I used to work, with children in the institute. I always loved children at a young age, and children loved me. So like when I got pregnant, I don't think I felt like I didn't have to do any research or like kind of prepare myself. What I did do is torture myself watching TLC all day and night, because I was like, oh my God, I'm so scared for like labor pains, because I kept hearing the torture of like, vaginal delivery. And I think that's the only thing that I like tortured myself doing, watching maternity ward every single day.
Wow.
Yeah. And I don't think you should do that, because every pregnancy experience is totally different. So I'll retract that statement, but you really make yourself like over worried, thinking how painful it's going to be. And like, obviously Ava was my first, daughter, firstborn. And she was a vaginal delivery. She had a due date of September 23rd. And my September 21st, I was already obviously almost 40 weeks. I had woke up with like these really bad excruciating pains, and I went to the emergency room. And at that point I was done, because like I had already had like 3 false labors prior to September 21st. And all they would do is send me back home, because they're like, hey, she's not ready to come out yet.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. At this point, when I had went on September 21st, I was done. Like, I love being pregnant, but at 40 weeks, your body is done. Your body is tired. Like, I just couldn't fathom being pregnant anymore. Like, I loved every part of it, even though I vomited the whole 9 months. I wanted her out. So like, I told them like, hey, I want her out. And they're like, no, I'm going to send you back home, and you can take morphine for the pain if you like. I was only like 1 centimeter. What? Yeah.
Oh my God.
They were like, go back home. I said, no, fuck you. I'm not going back home. You're going to take this baby out of me. She's like, no, like, what you'll do is you'll stay pregnant until 40 weeks. If she doesn't come out by 40, then we'll have like an induced date of September 30th. I'm like, no, not doing that shit. I was in too much pain. My feet were swollen. My back was hurting. Everything was in pain. So I told them, you have to induce me. They called my OBGYN. This was in Jamaica Hospital. They called her, and they were like, yeah, go ahead and induce her. Like, the baby is fine. she can come out, you know. So we transferred me over to like the delivery room. And this happened so quickly, Angela, I can't even explain it. Like, I probably went into the hospital like 2 a.m. By like 11 a.m, I was admitted. You know, I started Pitocin, which is, you know, the medication that they give you to induce your labor. But they started on increments. Like, they started at 0, then 2, then 4, then 6, then 8. The higher the increments, the more intense your contractions get. And they start in increments to make sure it doesn't affect the heartbeat of the baby or you. Yeah. So they come in, they do all your shit, make sure you're ready. By like maybe by like 2 o'clock p.m., I was probably already like at, I think 6, probably like 6 or 4, like the Pitocin. I was feeling contractions, but they weren't that bad. And then after like 30 minutes of like, I think it was the 4 increment, I said, I need an epidural. I need it. Like, I can't do it. So I got the epidural. Let me tell you this funny story. The epidural did not kick effect. And the reason why is that the anesthesiologist claims that I had moved while they were performing this. So by the way, for those of you who don't know, epidural is an injection that's inserted in your spine. Okay. Yeah. In your spine. Like, it is not something to fuck with. It's in your spine. Like, this shit can leave you paralyzed if somebody fucks up. So like, during it, I had my midwife holding on to my neck, basically in some sort of chokehold position, to make sure that I was locked and that I was not moving, you know, while the anesthesiologist was back there doing what he had to do. And during a contraction, you feel the need to move because it's your only way to cope with pain. So my midwife was there. We inserted the epidural. Within like 5 minutes, I started to feel some woozy sensation in my legs, but it was only on my right side. And I told my midwife, like, hey, I still have a lot of contraction pain and I feel it mainly on my left side. And the anesthesiologist comes in. He's like, I can't give you more because I just put it in. You're going to have to wait 6 more hours. And, you know, it seems like it went wrong because you probably moved during the procedure. So basically my body was only numb from my right side. So contractions were still painful on my left side. So, you know, I was like, you know what, whatever, I'll just deal with the pain. At this point, Angela, the pain was unbearable. It was between somebody taking a knife and stabbing at your stomach over and over and over. No. It was between that and also taking a really painful shit.
Oh God.
Yeah, so it was pretty much both of those mixed together. So I was dealing with the pains. The contractions were coming probably like every couple of minutes at this point. And all I remember is I had told Daryl, I have to go to the bathroom. And once they put your epidural, you can't get up. They put the catheter in you, which is that, you know, thing, that beautiful thing they insert through your urethra and it collects urine. So they put that in you because you're obviously paralyzed from like your hips down, so you can't get up. So I was like, I have to go to the bathroom. He's like, no, you don't. You know, just pee through the whatever.
What a jerk.
Yeah, I was like,
no, you don't.
Yeah, I was like, I have to go. Like, and it's not a pee. It's like a number 2. Like, I have to poop. And he's like, he's just sitting there like watching YouTube, you know. And I'm like, bro, I have to use the bathroom. Go get a nurse. Like, now, or I'm gonna shit on this bed. And he's like, all right, fine. He goes into the hallway and he's trying to look for a nurse. By the way, horrible hospital I was in. I'd never go in there again. Jamaica hospital, horrible. Anyway, so he goes in the hallway, finds my midwife. My midwife comes in and she's like, oh, you don't have to, you know, if you have to poop, I'll just put a bed tray, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. And I was like, all right, if you say so. And then she's like, while I'm here, let me just, so when you're pregnant, you know, you're in labor, every so often, especially when you're on Pitocin, they come and do a vaginal check, which is just seeing how dilated you are. So she was like, oh, while I'm here, let me just check how dilated you are, right? Because when I came in, I was only 1 centimeter, and like every couple of hours, I was still like 1 centimeter. So I'm telling her I have to poop, and she goes and checks how dilated I am, which is just the insertion of the fingers, you know, blah, blah, blah. And as soon as that happened, I felt a gush come out. It was like an ocean. It was like boom, like an ocean just smeared all over my legs, all over the bed. I was like, what the? She's like, oh my God, your water just broke.
Oh.
And I said, what? I said, oh my God, call my mom, please. Like, my mom's not here yet. Call my mom. And she's like, no, we don't have time for that. She's coming right now. And I said, what?
Oh.
I said, no, I have to go to the bathroom. She's like, nope, that's not you having to go to the bathroom. That's your urges to like push her out, because that's what it feels like, you know, having to poop.
Mm-hmm.
And in my head, I'm like, no, like I have to poop and I don't want to poop on her. And she's like, no. She's like, push and push and push, and we're gonna do this. And you know, my water broke at 6:15. Long story short, she was born at 6:56. And I probably pushed maybe like 4 or 5 times, and she was out, you know. It was painful. I mean, the most painful part was her head, because when you can only push when you have contractions, and when her head was right there, the contraction would go away, and it's like starting all over, like on a blank canvas. Yeah, like as soon as you know how like when you almost reaching the end of like a marathon, you're like yes, and then somebody moves the finish line a little farther. That's exactly what was happening. Like I was right there, boom, 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 and then contraction went away. Got to start all over again. But when she was out, like it was pretty much like a smooth pain from there. It was still painful, but pretty smooth. Like, you know, not. As soon as she came out and she was on my belly, like I didn't even care about my pain. Like I didn't care about delivering the placenta. I was just so excited to have her in my arms, and it erases the whole fact that you're blind, because you don't need to see to experience what motherhood is. You don't need to see to experience what labor is. I even had my midwife say, she was like, oh, her head is coming out, she has such beautiful hair, do you want to touch it? She said that while I'm in mid-labor.
She said that while you're
in mid-labor.
Were you like, supposed to like reach down and like just put your hand in your vagina?
Exactly what she wanted me to do. And I said, fuck no. I said, just get her out, because I was in so much pain. I said, just get her the fuck out. I'm like, just get her out. Like, can you just grab her head and just pull her out yourself? You know, but like what I'm trying to explain is like, you don't need to see for any of that. Like what I experienced, I didn't look at my vagina to like see her coming out. And essentially nobody does. You don't ever look when you're delivering. So you really don't need vision to experience what labor is. You don't need vision to experience what delivery is. You don't need vision to experience what pregnancy is. For every single sonogram I experienced with Ava, I had my the ultrasound tech or the sonographer always like describe to me what was on the, you know, visual, you know. And it sucks to say that you have to rely on somebody else to describe that to you, but you can make your own visualization with what they, you know, tell you, like, oh, she has her fingers in her hands, or depending on the degree of vision you have, some people are still able to look at sonograms and be visually impaired and still be able to look at their babies, you know. So,
when my mom was pregnant with my sister, I was just losing my vision. In fact, I lost my sight a month before my sister was born. But I went with my mom to like all her appointments and stuff like that, and I had enough. No, my vision was going pretty badly, and it was really hard to see because it's so dark in there.
Yeah.
So it was really hard for me to like be able to tell details, but I sort of, you know, I was able to, you know how they print like a copy, like for you to take home. Yeah, it was hard for me to see those, but I was able to see her on screen
on the computer. Yeah, I think it's easier to see it there than the like black and white copies that they give you.
Yeah,
because it just looks blurry in general. I mean, sighted people even have trouble looking at those sonograms, but you know, it is what it is. I explained to you guys that just to like let you guys know that although like I'm visually impaired, I enjoyed every moment of my pregnancy, and I'll do it over and over again. No regrets.
Awesome. Did you have any fears going into motherhood?
Yeah, my biggest fear was like, what about if I fail her? Like when she was first born, my biggest fear was SIDS. Sudden.
Yes, I learned about SIDS.
Yeah.
In college.
Yeah, it's horrible, and like being visually impaired and worrying about that was probably one of my biggest case lows being a mom. Like,
for those of you who don't know, SID is sudden infant death
syndrome.
And it's not something that
it's not
I would ever wish on anyone, not even my enemies. It's so horrible. It's sad. Breaks my heart.
And there's no explanation to it. Like, it just happens. So like when I got pregnant, actually not even when I got pregnant, that fear arose when she was born, because I became paranoid to the fact where like even when she was sleeping, I couldn't sleep because I can't see. So the number one sign for SIDS is starting to notice when the baby's skin tone changes color. I can't see that. So what I would do is when she was sleeping, I would always go check maybe every 30 minutes and put my hand on her chest to make sure that she's still breathing. And I would also make sure she was still sleeping on her left and her right, because newborns tend to move, you know, and then they don't know how to flip back in their position. So like that was my biggest fear. I suffered for that for like, I think until she was 1 year old. And also I was breastfeeding Ava. So nights for me were really lonely and really stressful when I was like up in like 3 in the morning and then 5 in the morning and then 6 in the morning and then 7 in the morning, like with her attached to my breast. And like my fear was not only SIDS but falling asleep with her on like my breast and like me crushing her, because that happens too, where like parents have fallen asleep with their baby and accidentally suffocated them. I think those were like my two main fears, you know, SIDS and falling asleep with her.
And what are some of the fears you may have today?
The biggest fear, I wouldn't even call it a fear. It's more like a barrier that interferes with me daily. Like as she grows, I'm going to miss out on so much, and not because I choose to, but because unfortunately I can't change my destiny. Like when she goes to prom, I'm not going to be able to see her prom dress, and I'm going to rely on her to describe it for me. When she gets married, I won't see her walk down that aisle with her beautiful, you know, white dress. When she graduates high school, I won't see her walk up to the podium and, you know, look pretty, or like, you know, those milestones, like they mean a lot when you have that visual, sentimental part of it. But when you can't see, you have to rely on somebody else no matter what. Either it's going to be her or somebody describing to me like how she looks or what she's doing, or even her husband. Like, how am I going to know that she's picking cute boyfriends? Like,
you're going to have to give her a lesson how to pick cute boyfriends.
Even then, like, my taste might not be the best, like, you know, so I don't want to give her lessons. And then she's like, Mom, like, ew, gross. Like, she's probably like, damn, Mom, I could tell you're blind. Like, what are you talking about? Like,
well, you know, as long as he treats her right.
That's all I care about.
Respectful. Yeah.
It doesn't matter what physically he looks about, because like that's what I spoke about in the last episode, where it doesn't matter what you like. I see past, you know, like I think I spoke about that with Valerie, where like vision is not needed in life, because I see past that. I have a vision that sighted people don't have. Like, I'm able to see your interior automatically prior to judging your physical features, you know. And I think that goes a lot, but those are the fears that I have today. Like right now, she's starting school in September, and she's going to be going to preschool, which, you know, this is the first time. That's a milestone. And you know, this is the first time that Ava has been away from me for like 8 hours of the day. You know, that's going to be hard for me and hard for her. And like my biggest fear is like having to leave her and worry about her not being okay. I don't think that has to do with like visual impairment. I just think it's a separation problem that we have. Actually, yeah, it has to do with visual impairment. You know why? Because I'm so attached to her. Like when we go outside, she needs to be by me, like strictly by me. So we have like this severe bond that like when she's unattached from me, I go into panic mode.
Yeah.
You know, so that's probably the fear that I have upcoming right now, her starting preschool and me starting to like let go of that like umbilical cord. Other than that, I think the other things are not fears. The other things are just like, how would you describe that? Like, not fears, but what are, you know, like what I said about like, you know, not being able to see her, like walk up to her like podium for graduation or graduate college, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not fear. It's more like feeling like you're missing out on special occasions. Yeah. And
or like sometimes my fear is becoming a burden to her. Like you know, like I feel like when she grows up, like I'm gonna be a burden on her, because you know how I just said, like, I won't see her prom dress. I'm gonna have to rely on somebody to describe it, and then like I'm gonna put that responsibility on her to like tell me, oh, what does your dress look like? And I don't want to put that on her. Like, I want her to grow up knowing that she doesn't have to take care of me, but that I'm here to take care of her. I think actually that answers it. That's my fear right there. My fear is becoming a burden on her.
If I was a parent, I think one of my fears, kind of to follow up what you said, would be like the public kind of thinking that your kid is supposed to take care of you. Like, oh, look how cute, you're taking care of your mommy. Like, and your kid is gonna feel like she needs to defend herself. Like, no, I do not take care of my mom. My mom takes care of myself. My mom is independent. Like, you're gonna be a role model. Like, you're a role model.
Yeah.
And your kid's gonna feel like she has to defend herself and defend you, essentially. And
essentially what we already experience as handlers, like, you know how like we always have to defend ourselves and state that like our dogs can't find Starbucks, we do it.
And then some people honestly think that our dogs
some people
the one taking care of us.
But then that goes in the same like category where like some people assume that Ava takes care of me, or some people assume that like our dogs take us to Starbucks. Like, oh, he found Starbucks for you. Like, what a good dog.
The street for you.
Yeah, like he can tell traffic. Wow, what a great dog. Like, that's people's mentality. So I mean, I do go through that too. You know, like the public just being a parent, but it is what it is. I mean, we can't even change how people feel about handlers, guide dog handlers. So I don't think we're going to change the conception about blind parents.
Yeah. And just to touch back on what you said earlier, what are some of the steps you take as a blind parent to ensure that, you guys are safe when you're out and about?
Yeah, so like now it's a little bit easier because she's older and she can cope with just me speaking to her. But previously, when she was smaller, I adapted everything. Like, I used to use a book bag. I don't even know what it's called, like a book bag leash, where like I would put a book bag on her and she'd be kind of on a leash, like, only a couple of feet away from me. As she got older, I use a couple of things. So I use the book bag leash method. I use like this flashing LED light, because I could still see, lights and stuff. And I'm trying to think what else I used to do. The light up shoes. And then as she got older, like I always removed one article of adaptive equipment. Like, right now she doesn't use anything. Like right now when we walk, she's good enough to walk side by side by me, and sometimes I hold her hand, sometimes I don't need to if we're walking around in a familiar area. When we cross streets, she knows that she must hold my hand at all times. When we go unfamiliar areas, I always have her hold my hand. If she doesn't want to hold my hand, then I wrap her around a leash.
Okay.
Not a dog leash.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Like I could connect it to her belt loop, and like she could walk freely, but just still, within my reach, and making sure that she's nearby me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. My next question is, what are some of the challenges you face from the public as a visually impaired parent? So, such as we kind of already talked about this, how people make comments, oh, your daughter's taking care of you, or they don't even say it. They might not even say it to you, they might just make comments, or when you're calling out your kid and someone might say, oh, they're right here, she's right there, and when you're expecting your kid to respond.
Yeah, I've had that so freaking much, to the point of anger, because most of the times when I hear the comments about, oh, look at that poor little girl taking care of her mom, it's never directed to me. It's just side comments that I hear, and I either can correct the person and let them know, like, no, that's not the case. I am visually impaired, but she's not taking care of me. I take care of her. I just have tactics and good tricks that work for me, and techniques that work for me, and I can't have other people interfering with it. Same as my handling skills. Like, for instance, I'll give an example. Like, I go to the pool, and when I go to the pool with Ava, I'll have her, float with me, because she's in the process of learning how to swim. She's not like a swimmer yet, so I have her use a floaty with me, and we'll float around, within 3 feet, 4 feet of water. And as I'm walking, there's other people in the pool, because this is my building's pool. There's other people in there, and they're like, oh, you're walking into the 4 feet, you're walking into the 3 feet, you're walking into the 4 feet, you're walking into the 3 feet, and not even a lifeguard. Yeah. They're not even a lifeguard. They're just like regular people in a pool. And I'm like, shut up. That's what I'm saying in my head, because I don't want to come off like rude. But then when it's over and over, it comes repetitive. Like, one, I didn't ask you for that. And two, as you see, I'm capable of doing it on my own. Like, I don't need you, telling me where I'm walking into. And then the pushing point for me is when I let her swim around by herself. And only at 3 or 4 feet, obviously. And I'm calling her, because my tactics with her, whether it be in the pool or anywhere else, I constantly call her Ava, 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 whether that be maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes. As long as I hear her by my side, I don't have to call her. But if she gets quiet, I call her. And then I'm calling her, right? And the other person is responding, oh, she's right here. Oh, she's right here. Oh, she's right here. I'm like, please do not do that. Like, these are the tactics and my techniques that work best for me. And I need her to respond, not you to respond. I'm not looking for you. I'm looking for her. And you telling me that she's right here doesn't indicate nothing for me, because right here can be anywhere. Like,
yeah, they're sort of interfering with how you're parenting.
That's exactly what I said. Like, these are my techniques and these are my tricks that I use on, for me to be able to be independent and safe as well, because do we face challenges being blind and having to travel with kids? Hell yeah, we do. It's already a challenge enough individually traveling, right? Don't you think it's double the challenge when you have toddlers traveling with you, especially when they don't know and they don't understand your visual impairment? It's double the challenge. So I've adapted equipment or techniques or tricks that Ava is aware of. Like, she knows how I run things, she knows how I do things. She may not understand the full concept that I can't see, but she knows how I like to function. So when you go interfere with that, you interfere with my functionality, you interfere with what I like doing and what I prefer to do, and you discredit me as a freaking parent. And it annoys me to the fullest, because I'm like, if you weren't here, what makes you think like how would I be doing this if you weren't here calling out for her? I would do this on my own without you here. Like, I don't ask you, hey, when are you going to be in a pool so I can come in here, you can assist me.
Yeah, and I'm sure this is some of the things you do at home, like
that I don't need help with.
You say, hey, bud, where are you?
Yes.
Even if you're at home, even in the safety of your own home.
Yeah.
You still do that.
I want to know where she is, because honestly, if Ava's quiet, she's up to no good.
Yeah.
In the home.
Which kind of brings me to the next question. Hang on. What are some of the misconceptions you wish to debunk that the public has as a visually impaired parent? So, like,
that we're unable to parent.
Yeah, well, that.
Simply
and, like, when they're like, oh, how are you able to take care of them? How are you able to know when they're up to no good? How do you know when they're safe and all that?
What I used to do when she was much smaller and couldn't talk is I used to be up her ass 24/7. Like, I would not let her go. Even when she started to crawl, I would crawl with her, so I constantly knew where she was 24/7. So it's not like I'm one of those parents that sit on my couch and just parent from my couch. But now that she's older, what I do to make sure that she's not getting into, honestly, Ava's really smart for her age. She's gonna be 4, but she's really smart for her age, and she knows when she's doing good and she knows when she's doing wrong. But when she was younger, I would always be up her ass until the point where she's like, damn it, like, if I want mommy to get off my back, she's like, if I want mommy to get off my back, maybe I shouldn't do bad things. And to be real with you, Ava really never did things that she wasn't supposed to, besides like the usual kid shit. And I mean, I wish I could just debunk the fact that a lot of people out there believe that blind people can't parent. One, they think, how are you able to dress your kid? I have everything for Ava. I have everything color coordinated. Don't fuck with her stuff. If you fuck with her stuff, I'm pissed. Don't do that. Like, all her dressers are color coordinated. All her clothing are coordinated. Like, I have a dresser specifically for pajamas and nightwear. You don't really have to match your pajamas. And if I buy matching pajamas, I put them together, right? Matching set. And then, like, I have another side where, like, her dressy clothes is, where, like, dressing, to go outside and whatnot. Her shoes are on, like, a nice shoe caddy behind her door. Like, I have everything so accommodated to me that I'm able to parent. Like, I might not be able to see how cute her shirt is, but I can feel it. I can visualize it in my head. I can get a description of it. Or, like, people think that, like, How are you able to feed her or cook her? The same way I'm able to do it for myself, I'm able to do it for her. Like, people think that because you're blind, you can't cook dinner. You can't wash your body. You can't, like, you know,
how do you
like,
even get up from bed?
how do you get up from bed? Like, what do
your
people
pillow is.
think? Like, what do people think that blind people are? Like, we're blind. We're not freaking, like, you know, we're not missing an arm. I mean, there are people that are missing arms, but
our brain still works.
Our brain still works. We're still able to get up, you know, me and you, just speaking about me and you, we're still able to get up and function throughout our day. Mm-hmm. Blind people think that blind people don't work, or that they can't work because they're blind. Like, I don't know about everybody else, but I have a job, and I have a job with solely sighted people. I'm the only visually impaired person. You have a job. You've had a job since the day I met you, and, well, not the day I met you, but
yeah, I've always been working.
Yeah, I've always been working since I was 13 years old. That's never stopped. And you're in school, you're a college student. So just not only debunking the parenting issues being visually impaired, but just debunking the whole blind misconception, everything, whether you're a parent or not, like debunking that. Like, let's get rid of that shit. Like, and to get rid of that, we have to all work in a team effort. You know why I don't go off on the people that interrupt my parenting? Because if that's what makes them feel better, like they did some sort of good Samaritan work, go ahead, do what you please. But don't think that you did anything to earn a point on my chart. Like, that doesn't make you earn a point, because I didn't ask for your help. If I need it, I'm capable of asking for help. But when I don't need it, don't offer it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's such a hard position for you, because, like, I know part of you wants to go off because, you know, you feel discredited.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's kind of like, I would feel like, me personally, I will feel awkward even just being polite about it. Like, I don't know how to be polite about it without not feeling uncomfortable.
That's exactly why I don't mention it at all. Now, it has come up. Like, I remember I told you the story about my lifeguard and, like, Ava walking. Like, that was a situation I had to address right there at its moment, because it put my daughter's safety at risk. Like, you know, where my daughter went to go follow the lifeguard, and you know, I'm panicking looking for my daughter, and then the lifeguard said, oh, she followed me. And I said, Ava, come back over here, come here right now. She's like, oh, she's walking to you right now, she's walking. And I said, no, this is not gonna happen again. I told the lifeguard, don't you dare ever do that again, and don't you dare allow my daughter to come follow you. The moment you see her walking to you is when you should say, hey ma'am, she's following me. Don't wait until she follows you, because she knows I can't see, because you know, she's the lifeguard here. But that had to be addressed right there at that moment. Any other time I probably won't address it if it doesn't interfere with my safety or her safety, you know. But that was a very unsafe moment that, like, you know, anything could have happened in that time frame where she went to go follow somebody. And obviously I scolded Ava as well, because she knows better than to follow anybody that's not her mom or dad.
Okay, and we're almost done here. You kind of touched upon this earlier when you mentioned how, you know, when she started crawling, you crawled with her. What are some of the milestones? Can you share some of those milestones you had with Ava so far, like first walk, first word?
We have every milestone together. Like, I've had Ava from not only when she was in my belly, but like from day one. I raised her. I wouldn't say as a single mom, but I was a stay-at-home mom for the first. I think in the first 2 years, I was a complete stay-at-home mom. So I went from breastfeeding her to weaning her off the breastfeeding, which was a big milestone. I think we stopped breastfeeding at 2. We started talking, I think, not 6 months, and then more verbal 9 months. We started, you know, tummy time, like around 8 months. I think by 9 months, she started to crawl. By 12 months, she was already walking. By like 18 months, she was running. By 2, she was like speaking a little bit more, I would say maybe 2 or 3 word sentences.
By 3, she was mommy, 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 mommy. Do you remember?
Yeah, but that's Ava. Like, now she's gonna be 4. I think what huge milestone have I had with Ava this year? Potty training, actually. Potty training was a big one. I don't remember when I finalized it. I mean, we're still in the overnight process. Like, for overnight, she still used pull-ups, but like during the day, she's in panties now. And I think it took like a matter of maybe 2 or 3 days. I did it kind of late because I didn't think she was ready, but she really took on to it quickly. And by the way, I potty trained her my damn self.
You?
I potty trained her my damn self. I bought her some panties, put her in the toilet, said, you got to pee here. I was consistent with it because I'm working from home, so I was able to be consistent with it. The only thing we're having problems with is just trying to get her to poop in the toilet and then overnight. Like, she's able to hold her like urine over the night and then pee in the morning, but I'm trying to get rid of the pull-ups overnight and like trust her to the point where she could wear panties and not pee the bed.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but we've had a lot of milestones. I mean, look, the next milestone is Ava going to school. Like, that's a huge milestone. Like, this is her first time going to school. You know, she's never even been to daycare. You know that.
Yeah, I think you were going to put her in daycare, but then literally COVID happened.
Yeah, I think she was in there like 1 or 2 days, just like trying it out last year. And then that was it. Other than that, she's never been away from home. So school is going to be a really big like milestone and also a challenge. Like, you know, I'm excited for that.
She's gonna be all okay.
She's growing. She's growing. She's gonna be 4, which makes me old. Like, very old.
And
I know somebody asked me a question literally like 2 minutes ago. Right now, I'm not gonna mention their name, but one of our viewers just messaged me on Facebook and asked me, Waleska, do you think you will have any more children in your future, or are you planning to have any more children? Good question. I'm not planning to have any more children. If it happens, of course, what am I gonna do? But I'm not planning to have any more children. I kind of want to like stabilize myself. I dedicated my heart and my soul to Ava. I mean, I don't regret it. I love it. But being a parent for me has really taken a lot of my 20s. Like, you know, so if it happens, yeah, but no plan, just to answer that person's question. But yeah,
as a bonus question, sure. I want to know, and your viewers want to know, an embarrassing story. Because we all know parents love to talk about like those embarrassing moments that the kids cause. My mom loves to tell people, oh, you know, she embarrassed the crap out of me when she was little. My mom has really interesting stories about me, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I did that? I'm so sorry. What a terrible child.
Yeah, I've had some too.
Do you have any you want to share right now?
Ava's only 3, guys. Like, I think the most embarrassing...
By one, so just real quick, I was diagnosed with retinoblastoma. I was doing chemo at 1, 2, and I was very sensitive to the smell, to scents. If you stunk, I will call you out. I was talking by 1. So we were in the hospital.
Oh my God.
My mom went to check me in, and she was, online, and I was sitting in the waiting chair with my dad, and there was some lady next to me, and apparently she stunk, and I was like, well, in Spanish, I was like, Mommy, can you tell that lady that she smelled like cucarancia?
Oh my God.
That lady over there smelled like cucarancia. I can't stand it over here. I want to go to a room. Like, I wanted my room because, I would go in for my chemo, and I would have my own
You want to
room.
translate that for everybody?
Cucarancia is like dirty pussy.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I was like, can you please tell the nurse to hurry up because this bitch smelled like
oh my
dirty
God.
pussy. And my dad was
at 1 year old.
At 1 year old, my dad was so embarrassed. He literally got up and left me. Like, he left the hospital.
My God. No. I mean, I love you and all, but what a horrible child.
Yes.
I don't think that has ever, like, no. Honestly, the only thing I could say about Ava, like, she was a really big mama's girl. So the moment you would go grab her or like try to carry her, even my mom, I think the embarrassing thing for me was the cry. Like, Ava would cry like you were like snapping her head off. It wasn't like a cry. Yeah, it wasn't like
she had lungs.
It wasn't like that. It was a scream cry, and you weren't even doing anything to her. Like, when my mom used to try to carry her, to help me out, like Ava wouldn't have it. Or if somebody wanted to carry her, Ava wouldn't have it. Like, she was just hooked on her mom. Like, I was her only, like, savior. Like, I want to only be with mommy. I wouldn't even call that embarrassing. But yeah, actually, yeah, I would. Because even in the doctors, like, when I would have to take her there, she would freaking go crazy. Like, somebody was about to, like, hit her in the head with a pan or something. Like that. And it's embarrassing because doctors are trained to see, like, babies that cry, but not to the point of, like, when you're just trying to lay them down and she's already crying, like.
And Ava has lungs, you guys.
Yeah. You think she has lungs now at 3? She definitely had them when she was a newborn.
Oh my god.
She was a badass. I mean, she still is a badass, but she's my badass, and whoever doesn't like her can kiss my ass. That's just how I feel about parenting. But I mean, I'm really glad we had this topic. I enjoyed it so much. Any other questions for me?
No, that was everything.
I love this topic, and, like, I can go on for days. I think we'll definitely, like, have more talks about, how we have the Ava antics. We'll have more talks about that. Ava will definitely be brought up in the rest of the podcast, but this was a great episode. This episode will be uploaded on July 25th, which will be #Sunshine Sunday. I thought it would really go great because, like, Ava's like my sunshine, so sunshine, yeah, you are my sunshine, my only sunshine. Should we put that as an intro song?
Ooh, yes.
Yeah. What is that? This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine. All right, let me not sing, so I can't sing for shit.
Right?
So this episode will be uploaded on Sunshine Sunday, and it'll be called Blind Parenting Q&A. Stay tuned to next week's episode, which will be on August 1st. Talk? Yeah, Relationship Talk. You can follow us on social media. We are on Facebook, the usual Blind Girl Talk podcast. You can also add me, Waleska Melendez, and Angela Loiza on Facebook. We are also on YouTube, Blind Girl Talk. We'll be uploading this episode on Spotify as well as YouTube. And if you guys are part of the group, I always share the links there for you guys. Me and Angela are also in the process of opening our website. It's going to be www.blindgirltalk.com. On that website, we will also upload the episodes. If you're not checking them out on Spotify or YouTube, you'll be able to check them out on our website. We're going to be taking some pictures, and we're also going to be welcoming some BGT merchandise. Some of those merchandises will be t-shirts. We're going to be making a brand of BGT t-shirts, and we're also going to be making some glassware. Right now, I only have mugs and wine glasses. Everything is going to be coinciding with our theme of Blind Girl Talk. So if you guys have any idea of what kind of merchandise you guys would like to see us, put together, please let us know, and we'll be glad to do that. And also, you can reach us at our email, blindgirltalk@gmail.com. Anything else, Angela?
Yeah, so just real quick on next week's topic, relationship talk. Waleska and I are going to talk about, just being in a relationship as a visually impaired or blind person, her experience being with a sighted person, my experience being with a blind person, how we do things, how we handle things. And if you guys have any questions or seeking advice, please
reach out to us.
Yeah, we already have a couple, and we're definitely going to touch up on those.
How about we bring a live guest in? Like, I know we spoke about that last week. Like, how about we bring a live guest? If you guys are interested to, like, join us, like, live, please message us. And we'll be glad to have you guys join us on the podcast. Like, I don't mind having a live guest, chit-chatting with us. I think that'll be a great addition to, like, our episode. And definitely next week is going to be super exciting. I will keep you guys posted throughout the week on our group. Also, if you're not on our group, I usually share it on my normal page, which is the Waleska Melendez page. In the upcoming days, not only the website will be prepared, once that website is prepared, Angela and I will share it in the group as well as our personal page. And then, we will be launching a individual fan page. where you guys will be able to check out all of our links to our episodes. And that's pretty much it for this episode, guys. I'm glad that you guys joined. Once again, we hope that you enjoyed this episode, and thanks for your support as always. We love you, and stay tuned to our next episode. And bye.